Vermithor is the second largest and the most terrifying Targaryen dragon in House of the Dragon series. Vermithor, called the Brown's Fury, is a male dragon once ridden by King Jaehaerys I Targaryen, known as the Old King. The Bronze Fury, as his nickname suggests, is a bronze dragon with great tan wings. Vermithor was already a large dragon in 48 AC, only Balerion and Vhagar were larger. By the time of the Dance of the Dragons, Vermithor is almost 100 years old and a fearsome beast. While Aemond's Vhagar is older and a bit larger, Vermithor is near Vhagar's size, but quicker and fiercer. Vhagar is well past her prime. To put it in perspective, Balerion the Black Dread was around 200 years old when he died of old age, and by that time he could not fly from King's Landing to Dragonstone. Vhagar is around 180 years old and really slow. Even Rhaenys' dragon Meleys is said by George R. R. Martin to stand a chance against Vhagar if they fight one-on-one, and no other dragon gets involved. Daemon's Jacaerys especially is a fair match against Vhagar, because while Vhagar is much older and bigger, Jacaerys is much quicker, fiercer, and more agile. Almost 100 years old, Vermithor is a beast who outgrew Dreamfire, who was older than him. He does not have any of Vhagar's age-related issues, and he's the closest to her in size, being the second largest dragon during the Targaryen Civil War. So while Vermithor is second largest dragon to Vhagar, I believe Vermithor is the strongest and the most powerful dragon in House of the Dragon. We saw him briefly in Season 1, when in an effort to find more dragons to gain advantage over the Greens and their dragons, Aemond Targaryen visits Vermithor in his lair, singing a Valyrian song to get his attention. Vermithor blasted fire above him, but he calmed as he and Aemond stared into each other's eyes. So we saw Vermithor for a couple of moments in Season 1, who was still riderless. In Season 2, that will change. We'll see more of Vermithor, and he will be claimed and ridden for Rhaenyra Targaryen's cause and fighting for the Blacks, at least until his rider betrays Rhaenyra. The dragonrider who will claim and ride Vermithor in Season 2 will be a new character called Jaehaerys. Hugh is tall and huge, with hands strong enough to twist steel bars. He wields a warhammer, and is not able to read or write. We'll first see him in episode 3 of Season 2, when King Aegon II goes out to drink with several gold cloaks. We'll see Jaehaerys and Ulf White drinking there as well, but they do not interact with King Aegon. Only Ulf drunkenly brags about being a Targaryen bastard. In episode 7 of Season 2, Rhaenyra and Jace will teach the dragonseeds how to approach and claim dragons. Dragonseeds are Targaryen bastards or their descendants, who will be called upon by Queen Rhaenyra and Prince Jacaerys, who will promise knighthood, lands and wealth to anyone who could master a dragon and fight for their cause against the Greens of King Aegon. In episode 7, we'll see many silver-haired people on Dragonstone Beach. In another scene, multiple characters including Jaehaerys are lined up in a row, where they are being addressed by Jace and Rhaenyra. What happens next is the Red Sowing, the attempt of many men and some women to claim a dragon. Vermithor is first tried to be claimed by Lord Gorman Macy, but Vermithor burns him to death. In the end, Vermithor will be claimed by Jaehaerys, a blacksmith's bastard and Vermithor's partner, Dragon Silverwing by Ulf the White. Seasmoke will also be claimed by Adam of Hull, bastard son of Corlys Velaryon. Vermithor will finally have a new rider. The Bronze Fury was once ridden by King Jaehaerys I Targaryen, the longest reigning Targaryen king. According to legend, Vermithor hatched from a dragon's egg that had been placed in the cradle of Prince Jaehaerys Targaryen by his sister Rhaena in 34 AC. In 42 AC at Dragonstone, Vermithor contributed his flames to the funeral pyre of King Aenys I Targaryen, son of Aegon the Conqueror, together with the dragons Quicksilver and Silverwing. In 44 AC, Jaehaerys, his sister Alicent, and their mother Alyssa Velaryon resided on Dragonstone with Vermithor and Silverstone as the hostages of Dowager Queen Visenya Targaryen. In the chaos following Visenya's death of natural causes that year, Jaehaerys, Alicent, and Alyssa fled the island, along with Jaehaerys' dragon Vermithor and Alicent's dragon Silverwing. Vermithor had accepted Prince Jaehaerys as his rider by 48 AC, when Jaehaerys made his claim for the Iron Throne. 9 days after the mysterious death of King Maegor I Targaryen, Jacaerys flew to King's Landing upon Vermithor to claim the throne. During his reign, Jaehaerys I and his sister wife, Queen Alicent Targaryen, once visited Winterfell with Vermithor and 5 more dragons. After Alicent grew bored and flew her own dragon Silverwing north to the Wall, Jaehaerys came after her on Vermithor. Vermithor became riderless when Jaehaerys died in 103 AC. Throughout the reign of Jaehaerys' successor, King Viserys I Targaryen, Vermithor had no new rider. During this time, Vermithor remained on the island of Dragonstone and made his lair in one of the smoking caverns of the Dragonmont. In 129 AC, or in other words, in Season 2, after the start of the Dance of the Dragons, after the Targaryen Civil War starts, Prince Jacaerys Velaryon will decide that his mother's faction needs more dragon riders, and as we already know, that's when Vermithor will get a new rider, Hugh the Hammer. In Season 3 and later, Hugh will ride Vermithor to battle in the Gullet. Along with Silverwing, Sheepstealer Vermax and Seasmoke, Vermithor will descend upon the 90 warships sailing under the banners of the 3 daughters. Vermithor and Hugh will fight valiantly for the blacks of Queen Rhaenyra. When King's Landing falls to Rhaenyra Targaryen supporters, Hugh will land Vermithor upon the hill of Rhaenys, outside of the Dragon Pit. In the Dragon Pit, Vermithor will make a lair before flying off to battle. Hugh will again ride Vermithor into battle during the first battle at Tumbleton. Hugh and fellow dragonseed Ulf the White, who had claimed Vermithor's mate Silverwing, will then change their allegiance, betraying Rhaenyra in favor of Aegon II Targaryen. Vermithor, Silverwing, and Tessarion, the dragon of Aegon II's brother Prince Daeron, let loose their flames upon Tumbleton, which will be savagely sacked. This betrayal from Vermithor's rider Hugh Hammer over Rhaenyra will be built upon since Season 2. For example, after the fall of King's Landing, Prince Aemond Targaryen will suggest that Hugh be wed to the daughter of the late Lord Rosby, but Rhaenyra declines. The Queen instead grants him only knighthood and some lands. When Aemond suggests that House Baratheon and Lannister should be destroyed for their support to King Aegon II Targaryen, he proposes granting Casterly Rock to Hugh. But after Lord Corlys Velaryon opposes the idea, Rhaenyra will refuse the suggestion. So in 130 AC, Hugh with Vermithor and Ulf with Silverwing are sent to help the Blacks defend the town of Tumbleton from Lord Ormond Hightower's approaching host, but they instead side with the Greens, unhappy with Queen Rhaenyra and their rewards. As the Hightower host remains at Tumbleton, so will Hugh with Vermithor. Hugh Hammer will then decide to fulfill his wish for the crown and declare himself king, as he is the rider of the strongest dragon. During the second battle of Tumbleton, an army of 4,000 men strong, that will be led by Adam Velaryon upon the dragon Seasmoke, will surprise the Hightower host as well as Hugh and Vermithor at Tumbleton with their nighttime attack. Hugh will rush to mount Vermithor, but he will be stopped by Jon Roxton, one of the Caltrops, who will kill Hugh with his Valyrian steel sword Orphanmaker. Vermithor, now riderless, still half asleep and on the ground, when 20 knights attempt to slay him. They will die in their attempt. Wounded and enraged, Vermithor will take flight, attacking all those around him. He snatches up a knight who tries to flee before him in his jaws, and burns Lords Piper and Deadings, with their squires, servants, and sword shields. While Vermithor is only 20 feet above the field, Seasmoke slams into him from above. The 2 dragons roll over the field, so entangled that neither is able to break free. According to Lord Banjicut Blackwood, Seasmoke is no match for Vermithor on account of the older dragon's size and weight. Lord Blackwood believes that Vermithor would have torn Seasmoke into pieces if Tessarion had not entered the fight, but the 3rd dragon does indeed enter the fighting. The 3 dragons fight to the death. Vermithor kills Seasmoke when he locks his teeth into the latter's neck and rips his head off. He attempts to take flight with Seasmoke's head still in his jaws, but his wings are tattered, making him unable to bear the weight. After a moment, he collapses and dies. After dark, Silverwing, who had fled into the sky when the battle began, will finally descend to land beside the slain dragons. Later, the singers would tell of how Silverwing tried to lift Vermithor's wing 3 times with her nose, as if to try and make him fly again. Vermithor was Silverwing's mate for a long time, and they had many dragon eggs together since the times when Vermithor was the mount of the old king, and Silver Ring was the mount of the old king's sister wife, Queen Alicent Targaryen. It's been speculated that there's some sort of magical psychic or at least emotional bond between dragons and their riders, so that they like friends of their rider and scorn their enemies. In this case, Vermithor and Silver Ring were actually a mated pair, mirroring the marriage between their two riders, and continued to remain so even after the original riders died. They often coiled about each other in the fields when their armies were not on the move during the Dance of the Dragons and will continue to do so in House of the Dragon. After his death, Vermithor's remains became a tourist attraction at the rebuilt Tumbleton. The novels never give the lineage of any of the Targaryen dragons, although it's fairly clear that Vermithor was one of the powerful second-generation dragons hatched after Aegon's conquest. Vermithor was nearly 100 years old during the Targaryen Civil War, putting his hatching somewhere around the years when Aegon the Conqueror died. All in all, Vermithor the Brown's Fury is a fearsome beast, the second largest dragon in House of the Dragon and likely the most powerful dragon alive. Vermithor will have a new dragonrider in Season 2, and will initially fight for Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen, until his rider changes allegiance to King Aegon II in the later seasons of House of the Dragon. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and I hope to see you in the next one.